Well, very much in the news at the moment is a story about sewerage, and with me is Mr. Cannan, head of the MUA, and all the attention at the minute is the sudden potential increase you're going to be putting forward to Tynwald to put up sewage charges. I mean, massively up as well. You've got to convince them, but you've got to convince the public as well. And I'm surprised that I'm sure in your past life, when you were just a mere backbencher, you'd be jumping up and down about these sort of charges.
Well, first of all, nobody wants to be bringing forward these sorts of charges, but the unpalatable facts is that the government is still running a significant budget deficit of £75 million, and £9 million of funding is being slowly withdrawn from the sewerage section of the Manx Utilities Authority, and we have to find the funds to continue to pay for the operations and the fiscal management of the sewerage operation. And £9 million, it's just not feasible for us to try and find that money with savings or cuts. Now, in the past, sewerage has been paid out of central taxation, and we've been very lucky because when you look at across the United Kingdom, you will see that people have been paying and have paid their sewerage separately out of their rates, or has been billed out of their rates bill. It has not come from central taxation. So we've got to adjust to this, but the bottom line is we still remain in a very precarious financial situation, and the MUA has to do its bit to go forward.
And that's what you're bound to say, because you're pushing this through, but I'm trying to say that it's a massive increase. You've gone out and got a report put in place which says this is the way to do it. You're putting on, is it rateable values you're going to be putting on? But we could be having water pumps, couldn't we? We could have metered pumps every house like they do in certain parts of the UK. There's other options there, but this report has stated that this is the best way to go. Did you tell them this is what you want out of the report?
No, the reason why I asked for, and I was particularly keen to have this report done, was to ensure that we were charging in as fair a manner as possible, and that we were doing so in a way that was comparable to the rest of the United Kingdom. In other words, we weren't going off on a tangent or in a completely separate direction. And that report clearly demonstrates that water authorities across the UK are charging for sewerage, do charge for sewerage on rateable values, and that's the old rateable values, by the way. That's not on capital values. Most of them, and the majority of them, are still charging on the old rentable values, which is pre-1990 rates. And within that, what we can also see is that whilst there are now only one or two companies actually charging the whole amount on rateable value, a lot of them now have a fixed charge as part of the bill, and the other part is made up on the rates.
Are you comfortable though with this sort of increase so quickly and the way it's going to hit people in their pockets?
I'm not comfortable with the increase at all, and the rate of increase. However, the bottom line is, as far as the Manx Utilities Authority is concerned, and as a member with the political responsibility for ensuring that the Manx Utilities Authority does not get back into the same mess that has been created in the past, the bottom line is, with the rate of withdrawal from Treasury of the funds, we have to have these hikes, and it isn't pleasant, it isn't palatable particularly, but there's pointless me trying to come up and bluff the electorate that somehow we shouldn't be charging the money. The money's coming from Treasury. Now, if Tynwald doesn't like that, I don't see it as a vote against the Manx Utilities Authority. It will be a vote against the rebalancing strategy and a vote against the money being withdrawn from the sewerage.
You looked at other places in the UK, Channel Islands as well. I mean, everyone's got their own little twist on this, but you're playing that this is the fairest way to do it.
Well, as it stands at the moment, it is the fairest way to do it. The rateable values are supposed to be there to value properties accordingly, and to ensure that those who can afford to pay the most do pay the most.
Shouldn't it be pay as you go in the sense of having a meter? If you want a meter, you can't actually have a meter. Is that right? We just don't have that flexibility in your system to be metered.
The Manx Utilities Authority have made the decision, and government's made the decision, not to roll out metering across the island. It's going to cost many millions of pounds, possibly up to £12 million to roll out a full programme of metering across the island.
Yeah, they've done it in the UK, and I think Ireland is doing it.
No, it's not actually complete in the UK.
Ireland
There has been a lot of places where it has been rolled out.
Ireland are doing it?
I don't know what the exact situation is in Ireland at the moment, but they've rolled it out in the UK. You can have a meter if you so wish, and that is being funded and paid for, obviously, out of your bills. I just don't think that at the moment we have the need to roll out a £12 million programme of water metering across the island pan, which is going to add even more stress and strain to the financial picture.
Yeah, an old lady who just happens to still live in a massive house, maybe circumstances, just there by herself, one person could end up will be paying a lot more, won't they?
Well, I think what we need to do is that we're talking here about rating issues and whether the rating system is fair. I think that there is some way to go on that. Of course, the Treasury Minister and Treasury were told to revalue the rates. They haven't done that. Nevertheless, the fact still remains for the Manx Utilities Authority that we still have to find the money. We have very little option but to come to Tynwald with this at the moment. And
people will see you sitting here. If you weren't in the position of being the chairman, you'd be the first person jumping up and down about this, wouldn't you?
Well, I think that initially when the proposals came for the fixed charge, and there was quite rightly a significant amount of opposition to that, and I was free to admit my opposition to that because you could see which way that was going to go. There was no fairness in that at all, and of course when I came into the Manx Utilities Authority, I moved to have it put onto the rateable values, and of course last year what will have happened with the average bills at £100 is that about 70%, it was estimated, the population were actually going to be paying less than £100 on their bills. Now, I think that was a fair way to do it. I still think it's a fair way to do it, but the point of that report was to look forward into the future now and suggest that there may well now be adjustments still needed to this. If we're going to continue to charge based on rateable values, then we're probably going to have to look at fixed charging, portion of the bill on a fixed charge, and the rest on rateable values. But we will do that and benchmark that accordingly with what is happening across the United Kingdom so that we stay in line with the water and sewerage companies across the water, because that effectively is our benchmark given our costs and financial ties to the UK.
Will you be able to sell this to Tynwald, do you think? I mean, you've got Chief Minister and the Coman presumably will be on your side, but do you think everybody else will be happy about what you're proposing?
Well, I don't think people will be happy. I mean, we've already had the Liberal Vannon Party this weekend state on social media that they're going to be opposing it. The Manx Utilities should find the money because we've made a £2 million surplus this year, and we're £6 million ahead of target. But to me, Paul, that's just gimmicks. Okay, there is a £400 million debt in the Manx Utilities Authority. Everybody knows that. We have significant financial challenges. I'm very pleased with the way things have gone in terms of the period of time over the last year and a half that I've been in charge, because we have slimmed things down. We are finding synergies. We are rolling out significant improvement programs. Of course, we're rolling out significant improvement programs in sewerage. We're currently working on the Balladul site to ensure that Ramsey and Andreas get their updated sewage works. We've got to look at Peel, where of course there's a public outcry about the raw sewage that's been pumped into the sea. And of course we've put in new plants at Kirkmichael and Derby in recent years as well. So across the island we're rolling out improvement programs that people actually want, so that the island is up to date, has the most modern standards, and of course all of this is still costing us money. What we're doing is trying to make sure that the capital spending is kept to an absolute minimum with the right equipment in to ensure that we're meeting modern standards, and that the business is becoming more efficient and more effective in its delivery, so that we're trying to keep costs down. And if that results in the Utilities Authority starting to improve its financial position, then it is better for the whole of society that happens. And it's pointless, though, running around giving out gimmicks that somehow, just because the financial position is slightly better in a year or 2 years, that somehow that's going to make a massive impact on the £400 million debt, because it's not.
But you accept it's a big hike for some people to take in one go, or not? I mean,
yes, it is, and it's a real worry, because there are a lot of people who are finding the cost of living difficult. And there are people out there, hard-working families, who really have had to cut back considerably over the last few years. And these types of rises, another £50 onto their annual bill, is a lot, particularly when you consider everything else that's going on around them in the environment. I think that what we have to do, and the Manx Utility certainly has always made no secret of the fact if people have financial difficulties, we will absolutely listen and do what we can to try and help ease that. But government itself now will need to make its decisions about how best in the future it continues to bring about its rebalancing programme. And bear in mind, Paul, let me put the point, bear in mind, next year there will probably be a new Council of Ministers, a new Treasury Minister who may well feel that, and a Tynwald who feel that we've reached a point with sewerage charging that you can't go on with these types of hikes, and may decide to try and rebalance in a slightly different way.
And therefore, no new chairman, which may not be you anyway, so you're just holding the fort, are you, until the general election?
Well, I have a responsibility, but the point is, Paul, I mean, I have a responsibility that I take very seriously for the good fiscal management and operational management, political operational management of the MUA. When you've had that kind of money sucked out of the operation on top of everything else that we've got to deal with, then we have very little choice, and we've thrashed this out in the board because nobody wants to bring these charges forward. But we have, as it stands, little alternative, and that's why I believe that when Tynwald comes to vote on it, really they're actually voting on, for the most part, they're voting on the overall government's rebalancing strategy and not just one isolated piece of it.